All right, everybody, welcome to the Blue Otter Emerald League. I am Sharpie, and I'm joined by Becky Rita. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing great. Last night, I had a pretty late night casting for the Draft League Finals. Tonight, I'm looking forward to seeing the Emerald action here in the Blue Otter League. And you in the audience, we're just gonna get this out of the way now. You will notice that Omega, our first team on the left here, are missing a few bands. That is pretty clear. I believe it was due to the fact that they are using e-subs. So they're in a very precarious situation in the fact that they lose 4 bans the entire first round and a single ban from round 2, which is going to change up their drafting strategy a lot for both teams. So let's drop hot right into it, looking at some of these picks and think about what changes they might have to make.
A lot of bans lost, and that means, I mean, luckily for them, they are on blue sides. They don't have to worry about something really dangerous being first picked, but they elect to go with the Zac as opposed to something, you know, premier like the Varus or the Jinx, for example, which we've seen blind pick B1 quite a bit. On the flip side, DZG, they're going to be picking up the Zeri. They hovered the Briar for a bit, but are ultimately going to pick up the Poppy for themselves, just to stop that Zac from being able to jump in quite so comfortably.
Yeah, and it also will negate a lot of other potential picks. Poppy's Steadfast Presence is really a good shutdown to a ton of big mobility tools, and obviously it's a very straightforward counter into Zac, but it's going to make Omega have to think a little bit more smartly as they go through drafting their other champions, and this right here is a solid response to what DZG have given them in terms of the Poppy with the Caitlyn Seraphine. Neither champ really has a whole lot of mobility. They aren't looking to be mobile. They're looking to poke you out and annoy you to death. And the response to that ends up being the Zed, which is quite fascinating.
It is kind of odd. I feel like it's probably going to be technically, unless it's a Seraphine mid or something, it's a blind Zed mid lane, which is very spicy, but I guess maybe DZG's mid laner is a bit of a Zed1 trick, and because it's not able to be banned out, they just take it, and that's going to be Zed locked in, unless it's some really weird thing like the Zed jungle's coming back or something funky like that. It's going to be a Poppy support, or it's Lorlo's Poppy top lane where you rush it. I don't know. It's just going to be really exciting to see how the Zed works out for them. The one ban is going to be the Diana up there, but Nautilus is going to be the pick there for DZG, so it's going to be a Zeri Nautilus bot lane against the Caitlyn Seraphine most likely.
Yeah, and I think that Nautilus is going to have a lot of trouble in this lane. If he doesn't play very respectfully, he steps up too far, he stays in range for too long, he gets chunked by too many Seraphine Qs, he's just going to lose HP so fast, and once he gets taken out, Zeri has no recourse in the lane because there's just no threat for her. She doesn't have enough damage, she doesn't have a lot of clear, at least early on, so she's just going to struggle if Caitlyn and Seraphine get pressure that is insurmountable, which they're quite good at doing. We have the Shen here, picked in the top lane. A potential blind, as this Poppy is still a flex. Can go in a couple of different places, as you talked about. And the Victor will round out a very slow-going composition here from Omega.
It's kind of a scaling 5v5 comp. You've got a bit of engage with the Zac and a bit of peel with the Shen Seraphine. Obviously, Shen, not just a in-game counter to Zed, because you can just ult whoever Zed goes onto, but it's also the lore counter to Zed as well, so we'll have to see if that pans out for them. Singed is going to be the final pick there in the top side up against the Shen, which is pretty fun because a big part of Shen's kit is around negating those basic attacks, and Shen says, I do not care about basic attacking you, I just want to throw around poison and clear waves that way. So we'll have to see, keep an eye on. That's a very spicy and very atypical to the meta top lane there with the Shen Singed matchup up there. Kind of a throwback to like season 5.
Yeah, I can't remember the last time I've seen this matchup outside of, solo queue games in season 3 where I'm playing Singed because I'm trolling my teammates. I
It's like
believe
some old Samsung White, because Looper used to play the Singed a lot. So it's been
Yeah.
since then, as we've really
Yeah.
seen it in the meta.
Yeah, that would have been season 4. So it
Oh,
was
season 4, that's right.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago that you really see Singed pick. He's one of those champions I like to describe as he plays League of Legends diagonally. The rest of the champions are playing the game, horizontally or vertically. He's going at an angle. He's not playing along the same plane as everyone else. He's playing a different game, functionally. And that is going to require both teams to properly utilize it. So it's not just that Omega Strikers Soda Shakers are going to have to play around the Singed, keep in mind, when is he going to proxy? How do we take care of that? How do we deal with the Singed in fights? But DZG are going to have to also play with the Singed in mind. And I imagine if they're picking it, they probably have a game plan with the Singed.
I like the draft the more I think about it from DZG. They've got double peel for the Zeri with the Poppy Nautilus. And Zeri, of course, has a ton of wave clear. So she can just clear out waves easily. And then Zed is really good isolated in a side wave. And guess what? So is Singed. So they've set themselves up very nicely for this sort of 1-3-1 composition. Whereas Omega, they want to play a bit more for this 5v5 looking for team fight. So it's kind of two different ideologies coming into this first game. And I think it's really going to come down to execution ultimately, because I don't think one draft is like really stronger than the other. They both have their own strengths and weaknesses, and it's all about, can they execute on their plan? I think DZG's is a little bit harder to make happen though.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. DZG has a very difficult comp. Just the champions that they have and the way they are supposed to play together, it's not super straightforward. You have Zed, who is able to go on and try and take care of... Ignore the background, if you can hear that. You have the Zed who can go on the background and take care of the Caitlyn and the Seraphine. And that's what he has to do. But then you have the Zeri, who wants to kind of fight front to back, along with the Nautilus and the Poppy. And Singed is running around. So it's going to be very interesting to see how DZG approaches a lot of these fights. I do think they have some fun tools. I would love to see Singed, go crazy this game. Unfortunately, I always favor the more straightforward composition whenever I am casting these amateur games. So, which is all I cast, I guess, whenever I'm casting. I always tend to favor the more straightforward comp, and Soda Shakers have a clear composition. They have good engage tools, they have good late game. So I think in terms of stability, if DZG can't shake things up early, Soda Shakers are going to be in a good spot.
They should be. It's very straightforward comp. Now, a big part of the counterplay to that is going to be on that Poppy there in the jungle. Can you prevent that Shen, that Zac from being able to jump in and get to your backline? And on the flip side, can Shen correctly ult the right target? It's a lot easier to do, but correctly ult the target that Zed wants to be picking off, or do you save it and wait and try to pick off or shield up someone that Nautilus could hook up and try it 100-0? So a lot of kind of decisions that have to be made, these micro decisions around the team fights, around the picks, etc. DZG do have to be careful about their side laning, because at any point Shen can ult in and make any 1v1 on the side lane a 2v1. So, and then of course the Zac as well, so much range, can jump in and make a 2v1 as well from way out of vision range. So a lot to be careful with. DZG, like we were saying, is way more difficult to execute on, but if it does go right, it can snowball wildly out of control.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if they can make that snowball happen, or if the controlled chaos from Soda Shakers can not shake things up, but keep things pretty steady going into the game. So we'll go to a quick break for the spectator delay. When we come back, we will be in on the Rift for Game 1 of our series here between Omega Gaming Soda Shakers, I keep calling them Omega Strikers, and DZG Arcadia. So stick around. We'll have that game coming at you after the break.
All
Welcome.
right. Oh, you want to do it? Go for it. We didn't
Sorry,
talk about who was doing this.
Yeah, we I feel like we did this last time we casted together, where we both attempted to go in because we forgot to say anything. Well, hello everyone. Barring that bizarre introduction there, welcome here onto the Rift for Game 1 of our series between Omega and DZG. Soda Shakers on the blue side, DZG on the red side this game. I'm Becky Rita. Joining me on the desk is I'm so sorry. Sharpie.
Minions have
Yep,
spawned.
it's Sharpie, right?
That's me. That is
Thank
me.
you. Yes. And it's Chippy who's doing production. So I hope you're all having a great evening, and I'm ready for some League of Legends. So, Singed in the game. I was gonna ask anything weird, anything interesting. Singed in the game. So what do you think about? We talked a little bit about Singed as a champion here, but what do you think about a little bit, maybe a bit more in depth about what the Singed is gonna be doing here, especially early on?
Singed is looking, so the way that the top lane meta has largely been as of late is top laners are just perma weak side. And you trust that your top laner is either gonna, if you pick something aggressive like a Camille, for example, or a Fiora, you trust that your top laner is just gonna win the isolated 1v1 because junglers tend not to care that top lane even exists. And the idea around that then is that Shen can safely kind of do, not to send the Singed, can just kind of safely do whatever they want. You can see stepping forward and getting some vision right there just to make sure Zac isn't going to try to sneak up for a cheeky level 3 gank, or at least so that Canny there on the Singed can know what's going on. But outside of that, I think really the idea is to just neutralize top lane as much as possible. You're never going to really be too much of a kill threat just because of that passive movement speed you get when you walk close to ally or to enemies.
Yep.
And you can just ground people. If they get too close, just flip them away and have a good time. And then eventually become this kind of hard shoving split push menace that can run all through the team fights and be really tanky and kind of ignore everything. But it's just an interesting pick.
Yeah, the way you're describing it, Singed these days, and I guess forever, has worked in a very similar way as Nunu used to. Your goal isn't to win. Your goal is to make the enemy as useless as you are. And that is what the Singed is going to be looking to do this game, kind of trying to neutralize the Shen. A bit difficult to do that when Shen has Stand United. Can't really stop him from doing that. But Singed does have the ability to push pretty quickly, get a lot of turret damage out. So it's not going to be super free for Shen to just take every Stand United opportunity. And Shen's going to be a little bit careful. And by that, I mean Shen's just going to get a first blood here as Singed goes for a fling, but just doesn't have the HP to survive Shen's early game damage.
Yeah, bit of a mistake there from Canny. Is thinking that maybe, hey, Shen might have accidentally with that pull of the sword might have accidentally taken tower aggro, goes for the flip, and then just takes the kill. And or tries to take the kill, and Shen doesn't have any tower aggro as of yet, and so Shen can just take the kill. Meanwhile, we've got a dive potentially coming in here bot side. Here's the Poppy.
Yeah, Nakrasa is going to be looking to try and get a dash into the wall. The shove does not land. No stuns will go out. Kiora, did pop the ghost there. Flash was blown from Seraphine, but no other sums were used.
Yep, flash from the Seraphine, ghost also there from the Caitlyn, but like you're saying, that Poppy came an inch away from getting that stun against the wall onto all one there in the Seraphine, but it was just short. But the other way, you take that you burned two summoners bot side, maybe 3 technically because the heal was popped there as well. So 3 sums for 1 trade, and you let the Zeri push out, who, by the way, has a 15 CS lead bot side, which is very impressive for Zeri up against that double ranged bot lane with the melee support.
Yes, it is definitely pretty impressive, and it does not bode well for the Caitlyn Seraphine that they aren't able to keep Castro down as early as maybe they should be able to with their range advantage here. But they do still have their potential to be a threat as the game continues. They do still have that ability to do damages. Corrido is going to be in a little bit of danger here. Here comes Kaiser Coolness, and that's going to be a full lockdown. The Stand United will be channeled, but no backup will arrive as Corrido just gets pincered.
Yeah, Shen did have level 6, pops the ult, but Nautilus is there on the roam. Decided not to kind of back and go right to mid lane, but just come straight, or back and go back to bot lane rather, but goes straight to mid lane to help with that dive. Victor pops the ghost, but pops the ghost straight into this aquatic Anchorman in the support role, and that's a kill. Given over, unfortunately, Kaiser Coolness did take that one on Nautilus. It would have been really nice if that went over to Andicus on the Zed, but, you know, you take the kill regardless.
Yeah, and I think it's very interesting that Kaiser even has the ability to leave lane. Like, you'd think with Seraphine Caitlyn that it would be pretty straightforward to, you know, either pin him in lane or if he leaves, prevent Castro from playing the video game. But it just looks like Soda Strikers aren't really pushing that advantage that theoretically they should have. I can't really tell exactly what's going on in that lane. You know, we aren't necessarily watching it the whole time because I would not want to watch a bot lane matchup like that. There are many more interesting things happening around the map, including the death of the first round of Grubbins, which will be picked up by Soda Shakers, and the old objective trade at level 1 will be taken here as the first Drake is going to go over to DZG. No real way to contest it from Soda Shakers, so they're just going to allow this to be taken. But as I was saying here, it just feels bizarre that Castro is getting away with so much in this lane, and Kaiser has the ability to even impact the map theoretically, and maybe looking for a gank here. Hook does not land. Kazu will get away.
Yeah, it's just, I wonder if it's simply some nerves bot side, because if you're playing a Caitlyn with the range support, you have to play pretty aggressively to do it correctly, and maybe all one is just a little nervous, and, you know, it's first game of the night here, and you're just not feeling quite confident enough, as Zed's gonna go for an ulti.
Yeah, we do have the gravity field will go down. The pop from the Zed ultimate will happen, but the XU doesn't come through. The Shuriken doesn't do nearly enough damage as Victor walks away with just a sliver of HP. I want to say an interesting thing there, looking at the items, is that on first back, Zed opted into the Caulfield's Warhammer as opposed to any sort of lethality. If that was maybe a Sterox, that might have been a kill, or a serrated Dirk. Sterox is a completely different thing, right?
Yeah.
So
I think
that would have been a kill.
It could have been. I want to say that Andicus actually should have gotten the kill there. Went in for one final auto attack before jumping back to the shadow, and can't accidentally jump back too soon and canceled their own auto attack. And so if you had gotten that auto to land and then thrown that final shuriken, you would have gotten the kill, but just a little bit too spicy on the moves there, and does not get the kill because you canceled your own auto attack. So a bit unfortunate there on that one.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate. And I would say, I imagine the first item is going to reveal why we don't have that. As now Kenny's going to go for a flash. We do have the steadfast presence. No dash from Shen. He is grounded. He's burning down. And Kenny will pick up that first kill for themselves in the top side.
That was a really nice dive there from Hosenchan, which I'm going to say it is what it is because that's their name spelled backwards.
Yes.
Hosenchan has been being very proactive here on the map. Of course, 100% kill participation on this Poppy, burning multiple summoners bot side, showing up mid, getting a kill, now handing over a kill to the Singed, who was kind of behind after, kind of gave over that first blood solo to Lawrence. Is now hovering back mid lane. Corrido, you better watch out.
Yeah, no vision here. Waiting for Corrido to step a little too far forward. Here comes the Poppy dashing in. The shove just going to push him back, and Kaiser Coolness has arrived as well. And they will pick up another kill onto Corrido. Andicus picking up that one as the response on the bot side will, I think at this point, potentially pick up a plate for the Caitlyn. But either way, another kill.
They're roaming right back down. This should be absolutely illegal for the Poppy, for the Caitlyn Seraphine to lose like this, but here they go.
Yeah, they're gonna attempt to lose this one. Never mind. The slow from the net is enough to stop the Poppy, and Kaiser Coolness with no flash, not able to quite close the gap. So, Poppy Caitlyn, or excuse me, Seraphine Caitlyn will avoid a certain demise, as I am now, I'm rubbing my eyes in confusion looking at this Caitlyn first item. What is, I gotta check some things. I gotta do some research to see if this is real.
It is a real thing. It's similar to how in it's kind of gained some popularity in the LCK. Similar to how in Korea, instead of going for that kind of attack speed on hit build for the Kalista, they've been going lethality on her as well, where you build no attack speed. It is unconventional, but it gives just so much burst that you can do that a lot of times teams just favor that burst that it can give up to see another fight here.
Okay, we do have another fight. The Encore is going to land onto 2. Kaiser Cool, the step charge is going to go onto Corrido. As on the front side, Kazu is going to do some bouncing, but on the backside, A11 is going to be in a little bit of danger. Canny's running around, sprinting, going to be popping the Zac passive on the front side. Lauren's going to have to flash away, leading out from the poison, and Kaiser Coolness will accidentally claim that kill on to the Zac blobs. Soda Shakers managed to disengage there with only a mere scrape and do secure 5 grubs for themselves.
Asen Chan gonna pick up those last little grubbling for themselves just to make sure it's not the 6. But yeah, it was a good fight there from DZG as they pick up another little bit of kills. It's going to be the Zeri support and the Nautilus carry bot side with 2 kills and assist on that Nautilus, and just straight zeros across the board for Castro.
Yeah, Castro just, hanging out, doing perfectly fine. The Zeri is here farming, will eventually join the rest of the game. But meanwhile, really a huge amount of effectiveness coming from Hasten in the jungle here on the Poppy. As you said, has been making the most happen around the map, and really has been finding a ton of great ganks and great responses. And I think really playing well with Kaiser as well. The two of them have been doing so much together. Oh, and that's really what you want to see, is your support and jungler playing as a duo. Making a lot of danger happen, making a lot of power plays. We could see a power play around the Drake. It will be secured, and I don't think there's going to be a contest here, as Kazu is more concerned with just, getting out of there and allowing the chips to fall where they may as the Inferno blazes.
Yeah, DZG need to be very careful when they're contesting those dragons, because the Shen can just ult in whatever's. Never mind, Corrido's going for a fight.
Ooh, yeah, Corrido's going to be looking to try and get the Andicus here. Andicus threw everything down, just a little bit of HP left, but the potion from Andicus will get that little bit of healing needed. Corrido nearly takes the solo kill there, but Andicus barely slips out of his fingers.
Yeah, close one. They survive. I wanted to touch again on those objectives, though. DZG need to be very careful, because Singed has been sitting top lane, or in side lanes at least, basically the entire game. Now does finally rotate down towards that bottom lane. But, they need to be so careful, because anytime that dragon is up, if Shen's on the Singed rather, is on the opposite side of the map, like right now, Shen can just ult in from anywhere and make any fight a 5v4. So DZG need to be very, very careful around these objectives, because any fight could go, the numbers could be against them at any time, really. So be careful.
Yeah, they need to be they need to certainly be careful here, as a Herald fight will happen. Kaiser will look to get on Fiora. Here's Dan United, will protect the Caitlyn. Encore's gonna go land on the Kaiser, nearly getting killed there, but the knockout from Payson will send Zac flying, bouncing in the other direction as Canny picks up one onto A11-1. Now on the front side, Lawrence and Kazu trying to get some frontlining done, but Zed just dashes behind them, forces out Fiora And with that done, there's nobody left to try and fight this roster as they very easily, pick them one by one and get a huge lead here at this Rift Herald.
And Canny critically knew that, I can't be caught lacking in a bot lane when the team is going for this Herald, clears out that bot lane quickly and runs straight towards the Rift Herald, wreaks so much havoc in that team fight, just running all over the place and putting down that poison field. Zed as well. Shout out to you, knowing that you don't need to overextend onto Kiora. You don't need to stay in the backline for too long and get bursted out. The idea is you just need to get the Caitlyn out of the fight so your team can clean it up. Does that job successfully, and they run over the fight, picking up another 3 kills without giving over a single death, picking up the Rift Herald as well.
Yeah, really smart play. Typically, you sometimes see assassin players. They get a little too lost in the sauce, and then they get themselves killed. But I do like that you mentioned there that Anarchist showed a lot of control there. They realized that their objective in the fight was just to remove Caitlyn, and either by death or by putting them at 1 HP, Caitlyn's gone. So it does not necessarily matter how you get rid of them. And Lawrence may be getting removed from the Rift right here as the poison's going to go down. It's just going to be some extra damage, and it's almost certainly, going to be picked up by Hasten right there with the little hammer drop. As now the Herald's going to get summoned in topside, will certainly be used to crack this turret. Canny's going to hop in the driver's seat.
Boom.
You would think that would be guaranteed, right? But the other day, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, I saw somebody hop into the Herald and then miss the turret. So, it does happen. You can indeed miss the turret, the stationary objective, if you're not careful. As Corito might need to be a little bit careful here. Andicus is looking a little feisty, does have ultimate, but neither want to go any further.
Yep, gotta be careful. This 1v1 can get very volatile. Of course, Andicus has gone for that Eclipse into Tiamat, so it's not super bursty at the moment. It is more centric about clearing out the waves and then using the CDR and the shielding to go for short trades at the moment. Doesn't want to look for all-ins just yet until they can get someone pretty low. Probably around half health is the market you're looking for. Although Corito is getting pretty close to that and has gone for the teleport ghost, so has no flash to dodge away from some of those abilities. So Corito needs to be very careful here on the side lane up against the Zed, who also has that first strike, so it's going to be doing a lot of damage. They might be looking for a dive here.
Yeah, they could be looking for a dive. Corito does have 3 people on them. Kaiser's just going to get to the hook. That's going to be a full PC lockdown. Scan United
Frontier
survive. Shen's going to arrive. Corito does step away. Chaos Storm is live. Will not be dropped quite yet as the first shutdown is going to go on to Andicus. And here comes Kario Kazu, going to be looking to bounce on the backside, but Singed has arrived to be a menace to society, getting one right now. Kario Kazu's at no HP. Passive's going to be popped. Kiora trying to fight back as much as they can, but they can't fight the ghostly, speedy man. He's poisoning all over them. That's going to be a triple going over to the Singed. He's not clicking any buttons. He's just right-clicking. He's walking around us. We can't stop him. Oh, man. Great stuff from Canny in that fight.
Have you seen those ads on like Instagram or whatever where people are like, I get paid to just walk? That's what Singed is doing. He's just walking around saying cha-ching, 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 let me get paid. The ads are real if you're Singed.
If you're Singed, you can get that passive income every step, $300 in your pocket. Yeah, it is.
Singed is technically investing in real estate. Because the ground is what, like, by walking around, he's getting income, that real estate passive income, like the American dream has become these days, where it's all about how can you profit off of the basic necessities of the people around you.
True.
You know? So,
yeah, true.
Since I see your basic necessity to be able to use your legs and walk, how about I take advantage of that and turn your need to just basically walk around and convert that into cash. I'm going to use that to get a crystal to slow you down so I can make you walk even less. And I'm going to get this mask of crying to make you sad while you try to walk in vain. So, respect to the Singed.
Yeah, it is. I'm glad that, you know, the early play, the early misplay, made me a little nervous about the Singe. It was like, oh man, we see Singe and he's just gonna get mollywopped. But no, he's managed to pull it back around and really show why they picked this champion. Again, you don't pick a champion like Singed unless you have a game plan. He's not a champion you just randomly select. So glad to see it really showcase the strengths that this champion does have when utilized properly, and it's really throwing a huge wrench into the very straightforward comp that Soda Shakers are trying to assemble here. I will say though that as the game continues and Victor picks up those items, you know, Caitlyn starts getting more lethality in pocket, getting more of those items online. It might get a little bit more difficult because Soda Shakers do still have the tools to win fights. They do still have all the good buttons that they've had the rest of the game. They might be a little low on gold right now, but all it takes is one fight to turn that back around. So, you know, DZG can't quite rest on their laurels as Fiora's going to be forced to flash out here, and here comes the ace in the hole. Not enough damage as Canny has arrived to the scene to potentially make a crime happen, but no fight will be engaged.
No fight. Castro is just like straight up winning 1v2 in the mid lane. Is going to force both Caitlyn and probably they're going to be able to heal up. So go back to lane, go back to the tower, heal up, and come right back. But yeah, it's just been like so. DZG are playing this kind of weird 1-3-1 strategy super well, where Canny just hard shoves these waves bot side and then instantly says, I don't want my team to have an opportunity to get caught by the Singed ultimate. So you'll see Canny just hard shove this wave, maybe screw around a little bit with the Shen, and then immediately after that, probably might even do it right here. Yeah, you can see just starts roaming straight towards the mid lane, just watching in case something happens. You can see heading all the way up towards the mid lane, just hovering around in case something goes awry. And then once the Shen pushes the wave back out, you will see the Shen go right back bot lane, pick up the wave, and then get right back to the mid lane. So it's a really nice 1-3-1. You see they're actually using that very effectively.
Yeah, and this is one of those things that you don't typically see you see it a lot more at this level of play than you would like gold, for example, but this is a really well executed 1-3-1, or I guess more of a 4-1, where Canny is, getting that wave in bot, not letting any of that farm go to waste, shoving it out, knowing Shen is going to be a little bit slower to respond to the push, and then just running to mid, taking care of that, applying pressure, forcing the Caitlyn into hiding, because otherwise Canny will collect an easy kill here. I think if Caitlyn gets flung, it is all over for her. Canny will just melt her very slowly, and Castro could be in a bit of danger here. Corrido is just going to pop them, and that is Jack, going to be an ace in the hole as Castro finally gets punished for that disrespect out in the mid lane.
That is the worst time to get caught, is while you're respawning in 30 seconds, dragging up in 28 seconds. So this should most likely be because you have no DPS whatsoever outside of the passive from the Singed, which isn't even that crazy of an amount of damage. Should be Dragon given over here. No soul point for you just yet for another 5 minutes.
Yeah, unless Soda Shakers decide to take a fight here and throw away, if they lose a fight here, randomly, they do lose the ability to secure this Drake, but the jungler is still up. Hasten could look for a flip. Looking around, is going to pop that ultimate. Shen going to walk into it. Never mind, that wasn't Shen, as now we do have a big ultimate coming out. Hasten having to dip away a little bit. Corrido's back over the wall, was knocked away, back to the fight.
There he's here.
Yeah, Kiora's burning down. Castro has arrived, but is it too little too late? Kaiser Coolness gonna have to flash away. Castro on their lonesome. Canny is around, causing havoc, throwing people, slowing them down. The Zac will be popped, and then the Sin finally goes down, but Castro is able to take one in retaliation, but it's not enough. The Chaos Storm will collect the Castro here, but now Kaiser Coolness has no fear on the Nautilus, but maybe should have shown some respect, or maybe not, because Andicus is TPing in right now, looking to get that home guard speed to close the gap onto Carino. Flash is going to go out, and here comes the ultimate. That's going to be a Victor chopped into little tiny steel pieces as that fight finally concludes. And tragically, it looks like DZG might get this Drake.
Yeah, they just might. Poppy is on the way down, but here comes another teleport. It's going to be from the Shen running back in to try to kill the Zed. Poppy's here too.
Yeah, Hasten's going to be looking to try and stop this. Anakin's going to get chunked hugely by the Ace in the hole, forced back, and now the Drake is going back, tipping in the scales of Soda Shakers here. But Poppy is still healthy, and Zed can move pretty quick. So I don't think this Drake's going over to anyone right now. Canny's looking to approach, trying to close the gap. We'll get the fling into the Seraphine here. Going to be taking a lot of damage in retaliation, though, as I am looking at a frozen stream as my internet has a fit. Unfortunately,
I'll take over from here.
No, we're good.
You're good? Okay. All right.
We're good. We're good. I got it. Anyways, no deaths there. Canny does escape. So the HP bars are still in favor of the Soda Shakers here, and it looks like for real, anyone gonna stop them? All right. Finally, after like 3 minutes of shenanigans, the Infernal Drake goes over to the Soda Shakers.
Finally going to take an objective for themselves. They did take the 5 Void Grows, but that had been about it for the entirety of the game. Not even a tower drop for them yet. That's going to feel good. That's going to feel really good. You finally get an actual decent team fight for yourself, although the Singe is starting to get more armor to deal with and retaliation against that Caitlyn. So that's not going to feel quite so good. Additionally, Zed has completed the Serpent's Fang, so it really is kind of an interestingly, oddly low damage build from the Zed. But the Serpent's Fang is probably pretty good just because of the amount of shielding that the Seraphine is going to give over. So I do understand it here.
Yeah, and it's not just the Seraphine. It also helps him punch through the Stand United shield. So if Lorenz does drop that down, Andicus does get that bonus damage. Might not still be able to kill through the Stand United shield. Is pretty huge, but it allows him to do that. And even, Victor has a tiny shield for himself off Q. So that's a shield he can pop through. And of course, the Seraphine has a big shielding that will be able to get some value. So I think there's a ton of value, actually, for the Serpent's Fang this game. So while it isn't the typical one-shot, we do have the Stand United coming down on Kiora, as Canny will look to try and just cause some havoc, but with the Ghost, that is going to be an escape from Kiora there. Don't go any further. They don't want to risk it. Canny does not, it is tanky, but not nearly as tanky as any of the super tanks you would kind of expect. Karyokazu is going to get caught in the jungle, hopping over the wall, has no passive, but yeah, there goes the ultimate from Zed. Pop him does not do enough damage, but yeah, just going to disengage here from DZG, walking out and potentially looking to reset and think about this Baron.
Yeah, DZG needs to stop playing into Omega's game plan there. They need to say, you know what, we have this really great kind of side laning composition. We need to get back to our roots and do that. Shen gonna finally do that. Zed gonna be sitting top side, clearing out waves there again. Back to their kind of 1-3-1 strategy. And that's going to pan out pretty well for them. That's what they want to do. It's a lot harder to match up against the Zed or the Singe in the side lane and then use that push pressure you have to give yourself priority over objectives, not the fact that you're just sitting there to begin with, because those team fights, as we saw, are a lot more even and even in favor of Omega. So you got to be playing your composition correctly.
Yeah. They can't just assume that they win. Neither team, especially, DZG here with the gold lead, they can't assume that they just instantly win because, the big buttons are on the side of Soda Shakers, and Soda Shakers can't just assume that they win everything because they have big buttons, They still have to execute well. Yeah, here comes the ultimate, here comes the gravity field. Atticus getting blown up to pieces there as Lorenz now taking a little bit of a trade here. Canny gonna have to dip away. Hasten will allow them to hasten their retreat. But on the top side, Andicus got a little bit too ambitious there. Victor does have Seraphs, does have the Roa. Pretty tanky.
Yeah, it's a very tanky Victor there. Has gone for the Lich Bane, for that 1v1 against the Zed. You can just keep throwing those Qs out and getting, you know, quite a bit of extra damage thanks to those Sheen procs. And Zed just doesn't have a lot of, you know, like I was saying, it's a good amount of damage, but not anything that's going to do some real 1v1 hard carry 100-0 amounts of damage. It's more about the wave clear and the shield cutting. And so Zed needs to really kind of turn this on and get some more damage if you want to be winning those isolated 1v1s against Corito on the Zed, on the Victor there.
Yeah.
I want to take a second while we've got a bit to talk about this Caitlyn build. Now you do see the opportunity rush, and then it goes into the collector, which has 20% crit, into the LDR, which has 20% crit. So she's sitting at 40% crit right now with a lot of front-loaded damage thanks to the opportunity passive. And then from here, what you typically see is actually the Infinity Edge. So she will be sitting in a few minutes, in probably 5 to 8 minutes, she will be sitting with an opportunity and a collector, an LDR, and an Infinity Edge. And that 4-item build there from Kiora is going to, you can see already, those empowered crits, thanks to the opportunity, do so much damage when you get them off.
Yeah, the only real question I would have then is, can you get to 4 items? We're going to see if that can happen, as Candy's going to be looking at just trying to disrupt the fight. Here comes the Encore. It lands onto 1. Only Hasten will get hit by that. Castro's on the backside, free-firing right now, not really being targeted. Kiora's being targeted, though, as Candy will actually not be able to do a whole lot. Too low right now, and as the whole front side of DZG start to fall, the Caitlyn damage is coming out swinging.
Castro?
Maybe it's not fake, but Castro will catch Kiora sleeping here, and now here comes the Zeri. She's ramped up, she's angry, and she's on lightning course for crashing down here. A quadra kill for Castro, and the Drake will be picked up by Soda Shakers, actually. But they'll get the Baron.
Yeah, Baron is going to be going over. Hasten is respawning in about 5 seconds, so we'll be able to run back in and secure it with the smite. Nobody alive, although in 8 seconds, Corito will be up and does have teleport. Can teleport into a wave over there on the side. So maybe might look to try to wreak some havoc here. We'll see if the Victor goes to the TP. I guess will not. But if you had teleported in there and ran over, you probably could have gotten some really nice damage since they still have the ultimate available. Could have gotten a double kill here. Kaiser, be careful!
Yeah, I think he was still a bit too far away, even with home guards. I don't think he was going to close the gap fast enough from the waves. It certainly could have happened, but, Corito's going to take the option to save that TP to potentially deal with a split from the Singe later on. Theoretically, or maybe we'll never see the TP happen again, and this was all a waste of everyone's time. But either way, the Baron in pocket of DZG now. This will make the Singed 4-1 split pushing, and Andicus, I presume, will take the top side here, and we'll get a 1-3-1. And honestly, the 3 of DZG with Hasten, Castro, and Kaiser is honestly pretty threatening. They aren't super easy to kill, and it gives a lot of breathing room for Canny and Andicus if they want to just split on the side. Canny just does not care about any of these gamers. Is Castro gonna be shot by a laser here? Corito's going fast, will blast away the Lightning Lady as Castro will get taken down, but Andicus will be on the backside, claim the Caitlyn, and that will be Kiora going down there. 1-for-1 right now, both AD carries being assassinated as the teams sort of reconvene, but turrets are falling in favor of DZG.
Turrets falling, bot side kill does go over, but it's just It's a slow crumble in favor of DZG as they're using this Baron. It's not the most effective Baron as of yet because Castro did get caught there by Victor, but yeah, it's an interesting kind of mid game here where I been a little bit sloppy. I'll put it to you that way. It's been a little bit sloppy here in the mid game.
Yeah, I think both teams are kind of just playing a little loose. You know, Soda Shakers, this definitely benefits them, a looser game state, because it buys them more time. Caitlyn now at that 4 items, that potential huge break point we're expecting here, as the Zeri looking to pick up the Wit's End coming in soon from the build there. That full build Zeri, it is going to be real, and it will hurt once we get there. But until then, right now, both AD carries are on pretty even footing. So it just is going to be a matter of, is the Lightning Lady going to be able to shoot fast enough to stop Kiora from blasting away the rest of the team in a single shot? We'll have to see once this Caitlyn actually does start stepping up and hitting people. But for the time being, it's just going to be, you know, the Baron's going to fall off pretty soon. The siege pressure will be lessened, and this next Drake is going to be a huge fight for both teams.
Yep, next fight, about 1 minute away until we see another big fight. We get to see how does that Caitlyn with 4 items, Infinity Edge online, how is that going to work out? Has the Flash, has the Ghost. There's full, for that team fight, it's going to be full summoners available all the way around. Maybe they want to concede it because they can, and then just tell Singed, hey, there's basically an open inhibitor tower there topside. Go play for that angle instead. Bait the fight. Let the Shen ult in to, you know, go for the contest. Then just say no. We're gonna take the tower. We're gonna start cracking the base over because you still can't afford to give over 1 dragon and not have it be sold. But then it gets really close because it's 3 dragons apiece. So maybe they do want to hover around for it, as Singed will be running it down mid and regrouping with the team. 10 seconds left until this really big dragon fight is about to break out.
Yeah, and the river is going to be in favor of DZG here. And with the champions that DZG have, it's going to be pretty tough for the Soda Shakers to begin this assault into the river. They don't have a lot of sieging power into the pit. They do have the deep dive from Zach, but aside from that, it's going to be a little tough. We do have the TP coming in from Corrido, did get that reset, get that huge item, as we do have a little bit of a pause here, as it looks like Andicus, bad time to DC. This is like, you know, if you're a player and you DC right at this situation, you're slamming your keyboard and crying. We are going to get our mandatory pause. I hope you enjoy this frame. Pretty good frame.
Poppy is spinning the hammer.
Poppy's spinning the hammer. We're going to see a knockaway. Kario Kazu is going to get sent to another zip code any moment.
Send it. Hasten. Send them to the next
moment.
Next zip code. Send them to the next county.
Yeah, we're gonna go to a different time zone here. Any moment. The frame changed. The frame advanced.
This is peak League of Legends.
Oh,
there he goes.
There he goes, and here comes the fight right now. Corrido's gonna get caught on the front side, flipped in the back, and is gonna get shut down immediately here by Andicus. And the Drake's gonna go down. Now we have A11 gonna be taking a ton of damage there from the Singe. Unfortunately, Zach will fall, and now it's just the Shen on their lonesome. Only a couple of players taken out by Kiora and Shen, and the rest of DZG stand tall. Once the frame advanced, the game was over for DZG.
Yeah, Castro stayed alive for the entire fight, was able to just completely DPS through the entire thing, while Kiora kind of got caught out there by the Singe and the Zed. It was a really nice Seraphine ultimate by all one. So much CC, but unfortunately the Zac had already gotten knocked out, so there was no follow-up dive. The solo fight scaling with the Singed and that Zeri is mostly going to win it out here, although all one is trying to clear it out. Kenny's getting pretty low. Maybe they'll be able to hold this.
Well,
they will. That's a lot of damage.
I may have opened up Balatro too soon, waiting for the next pause. As the game continues, let me close out of that real quick. Anyways,
Basically, Hasten did secure that soul for DZG. Just wanted to shout that really quick. Nice
Yeah.
fight there from
yeah,
Hasten.
yeah, that was a pretty scrappy fight. So that was gonna be pretty scary for both junglers, I think, especially because nobody was really actively hitting the Drake. So good stuff from Hasten. That's one of those are one of the hardest flips to do if you're a jungler, is when neither team's really thinking about the Drake and it's just kind of a bystander in an ongoing fight, and you're like, well, I still gotta get it. But yeah, good stuff from Hasten to maintain the focus, get that objective, and good stuff from the entirety of DZG to win that fight. However, we did see a little bit of a preview of what we can expect from the Caitlyn damage there. Was able to blast away Hasten in that fight, and Hasten is full tank. So any of these squishier members are going to face the pain of the long arm of the law if they aren't careful here. And Corrido as well, if they don't get flipped, can do a ton of damage. This is a full build Victor. All the items are online, all the pieces are in place, and Andicus might be in the right place to get an assassination here. They're aware of this happening as here goes Kaiser. Here comes the depth charge. Corrido's going to be taking a lot of damage. The Encore's going to go out, but Andicus doesn't get tagged. Now Castro's just going to be firing away, and there's nothing to be done anymore. Corrido will fall. The DPSs are no more. Kario Kazu can only do so much, but that bouncing is just a little bit of casual fun as they are taken out by a shot from Castro, and that is going to be the end of the game here. Great fight from DZG to close this one out and secure themselves game 1 of the series.
Game 1 secured, and it's all thanks to a beautiful flank there from Andicus. Got the shadow in and does that E-spin onto 3 people, jumps in with the Q onto all 3 people as well, ults to Caitlyn, and at that point it's just kind of over. Even though yet again Seraphine had another very nice ult, it's just not enough.
Yeah, it's just not enough. But I think at that point, even the good Seraphine ultimates, you know, these DPSs were doing quite a lot of damage. They got to their item break points. You can even see here just how much Kiora was pumping out in that game as the game continued. That's a pretty solid DPS for the Caitlyn, especially considering early on they weren't really interacting with their lane opponent as much as you'd expect. They did quite a lot of damage as the game continued, but it just wasn't enough. Eventually it got to a point where as long as Andicus was able to get that shot, or if Singe was able to get in there and throw people back, there just really wasn't an avenue for Caitlyn to safely free fire, and it just ended in the game falling apart.
Yep, the game fell apart indeed. It was a really fun game to watch. They were kind of slowly crawling back into the game, picking up those dragons and winning a couple team fights. But ultimately, the Zed is just too strong. Castro on that Zeri just stayed alive again and again and again in those team fights. And a Zeri, if you let that Zeri live through a team fight, Zeri will just carry every single time. And that's basically what happened.
Yeah, and we'll have to see if Castro can repeat that performance in game 2, or if the Soda Shakers have something in the can for them to showcase in next game. We're gonna go to a quick break as we set up for that lobby. Stick around, we'll have that draft coming at you after a short break. Welcome back. We're here in game 2 of our series between DZG Arcadia and Omega Gaming Soda Shakers. DZG on the blue side now, prioritizing that Zac once again. Actually, no, it was Karyokazu who played the Zac in game 1. So, picking up the Zac for themselves. So I guess high priority to the Zac champion. We'll see now what Omega is going to do now that they have the double pick here on red side, and it looks like they waited 30 seconds to pick Janna. So they're going to be the ones with the Zeri this game. So that's pretty exciting.
Are we kind of flipping comps here a little bit? Yeah, it's no Nautilus, but Janna is still pretty fun. It does counter the Zac pretty well. Like you're saying, the really interesting the amount of prio onto the Zachary. Not sure where that's coming from. Maybe both junglers just really like it. Maybe they like the flexibility of being able to send it top lane, or even sending it mid lane if your mid laner is Insanity. But Jinx is going to be the pick up the other, premier AD carry along with the Varus. Zeri, Jinx are the three big ones, and they will take another one for themselves to see what the support they take here is going to be. It is a Janna Zeri lane, so you might be able to go for something a bit more sustaining like a Lulu to go with the Jinx. Maybe you go for the Braum to go with the Jinx there as well. I'm not sure what they want to angle for in this draft, though. There's a bunch of ways they could take it.
Yeah, they have quite a few angles of where they want to go. The response will be the Jinx, who is who is definitely still top 2 AD carry on the patch. So DZG just going to pick that one up for themselves. And they'll also pick up the J4, which indicates the Zac is potentially going into top or support. Because I have a sneaking suspicion this is not a lane J4. We're talking about going back in time. I don't think J4 is going to be in any lanes anytime soon. So, yeah, it's very interesting. We're going to be seeing Zac in kind of an unusual situation here, but I have seen some pretty dangerous top lane Zacs. And honestly, could cause a ruckus here, as the Hui will be the response as we go into round 2. The singular ban Omega gets will be targeting Andicus's Zed. You gotta feel pretty good about that if you're Andicus. You're like, they get one ban and it was me. They banned me. Yeah, that's gotta, he's gotta feel a little good about that. But that goodness could be fleeting here if this next round of picks doesn't go in their favor. What would you like to see? Ooh, the Amumu. What would you like to see DZG pick out here to close this?
So they've picked the Amumu, which is a lot of dive. I think for the support, maybe if it's the Amumu for the support, I think you definitely want the Milio here. Milio is going to be so good against this Amumu, and it's solid against the Janna Zeri lane. And I think you want the Milio. I'm not sure what they would want for the rest. It's interesting that they're hovering the Rumble, so that could be a Zac or Jarvan support. Although it could just be like the Zac mid and the Rumble top, or the Rumble mid Zac top. I'm not sure what they're going for, but I do think if you haven't locked in your support, there's something real funky going on this game. As we see the Yasuo locked in.
Oh. Well.
I have no answers.
I guess it could be. I mean, I feel like you don't send Zac support here if there's a Janna on the enemy team. So what is it? Is it Jarvan support? Is Jinx secretly Callista? What's happening? I'm very intrigued.
I really don't know.
Color me intrigued here, DZG. Color me intrigued. But I wouldn't say color me particularly enthusiastic about this draft. But hey, the Singe was pretty funky last game, and that ended up being a huge power player for them. So maybe they have some ideas in terms of what this comp is going to do. Looking at the comp, just taking a pause to think about it, where do you think these champions are going to be going? How is DZG building this team here?
I think it may be the Rumble support.
Okay.
I think it might be the Rumble support. I have seen it a couple times. I know there's some ability to do it. It's obviously going to be Yasuo mid lane. Almost certainly going to be Jarvan jungle and Zac top. In my opinion, I think it's really between who's going to be support in top lane between Rumble and Zac. So I think that's what's going on. But I could be completely wrong. It could be a throwback. We've got the AP Jarvan support where you throw out the flags, although that makes very little sense against a Janna. So I do think it's just the Rumble support. In my full opinion, I think it is Rumble support.
Yeah, all right. Well, if it is Rumble support into the Janna, that's certainly an intriguing proposition. But do you think it's going to be enough to win the game? Me personally, I doubted the DZG comp last game, so I'm going to believe in them. I'm going to believe that they're cooking. I'm going to trust them here. The Singed ended up being a masterclass dish, and I think that Rumble support could be just that.
I think given especially how well, so they faltered a little bit in the mid game. They got caught up into the Omega kind of play style of playing around those objectives a bit too much, but they quickly adjusted and got right back on track. So I think their read of how their comps are supposed to be played is very good, and that lends them a lot of credibility for how this whatever this is they're cooking is going to pan out. And so yeah, I think, you know what? Yeah, I believe in it. I'm gonna be a believer.
All right. We got two believers on the desk in the Rumble wherever. We'll see where he goes and where the rest of this DZG roster goes when we get into game. And we'll also see what Omega can do to respond to it if they can tie up the series. So stick around. We'll be back after the spectator delay. And we've got League of Legends coming at you, so don't go anywhere. It'll be great. Hello, everybody, and welcome here on to the Rift for Game 2 of our series between DZG Arcadia and Omega Gaming Soda Shakers, the soda cans. We have DZG on the blue side, Soda Shakers on the red side. Once again, I am Becky Rita on the Rift here with Sharpie, and somewhere hovering above the Rift is Chippy. And we have a very fascinating composition here assembled by DZG. The result of the draft is obviously the Yasuo did end up going mid, but they sent the Zac down into support and the Rumble up into top lane, and it's it's very interesting, I would say. It's very fascinating. I'm intrigued.
I hear ya. It's gonna be fun to watch this game play out. I think Rumble is just typically going to be very good up against that Toad up there in the top side, but Zac into a Janna is probably gonna feel, until you can get some items on you, it's probably gonna feel pretty darn useless for the early laning phase. But then again, we have to remember that Castro back in game 1 just kind of won out with the Zeri in game 1, and was able to allow that Nautilus to roam quite a bit. So maybe that's the game plan here. Let Kaiser Coolness on the Zac just kind of roam around and look for kills, and just tell Castro, you're on your own, buddy. I'm getting gold for the rest of my team. We'll just see if that kind of playstyle works out for them again, as it seems like this time Zeri is going to have a bit more of a push and prio here in the bot side.
Yeah, the Zeri is almost certainly going to have quite a lot of pressure here, a lot of ability to just hang out, not really contested, as Kaiser doesn't have a super easy way to get in. It is going to require that a 11-1 doesn't just, rest on their laurels and assume, oh yeah, I can stop this. They do have to still be conscious of the fact that the Zac has a lot of different angles he can approach from, but it is going to be definitely, for at least the time being, good for Kiora, unless we do have an engage here. Kaiser looking to try and get something, waiting to have the ability for the knockup to go through. Flash is getting blown on both sides as Hasten now going to try and hasten their retreat, as Kiora will walk away ever so slightly. And that is gonna put Hasten a little bit behind the curve here in terms of the jungle clear. We'll just take the reset, head up top side to finish clearing those camps, as Amumu is on the bot side. Didn't go for anything early, so we'll just finish that up pretty cleanly.
And it's the exact same thing that happened in game 1. Hasten rotates down bot side and blows 3 summoners for just one of their own. So another nice win that takes all the prio away from Kiora and all one. And says, Caster, you're good to just chill here. And once again, that should allow Kaiser Coolness, instead of on the Nautilus, this time on the Zac, to start roaming around potentially. If this Jinx, once she starts getting some damage onto those rockets, can get that wave pushing and not feel quite so threatened, as we see Karyokazu looking and kind of peeking towards his bot side. Gotta be careful. Here's a move.
Ooh, here comes a flash. Great flash from Castro to prevent that from amounting to anything more than a trade of summoners. A very quick response from Castro there. That was so good from Karyokazu, but man, Castro's just got the trigger finger. And on the top side, Akani has the burning hands as Lawrence is taken down.
Lawrence gets taken down, and you picked this matchup. You had to know. I mean, I guess maybe it's just because of the flexibility, but you had to account for the idea that this could be the Rumble, as here comes Hasten, though.
Yeah, Hasten going to be looking to go into mid. Flash going to get blown by Corrido, and that's going to be a little bit rough for Hwei now. Hwei very fragile in lane, not a lot of mobility. Be an easy target, and speaking of easy targets, perhaps the shoe is on the other foot, as Thomas Kenchaman devours destroys Canny in the top side with a few select flicks.
Yeah, teleports back in, wins out in the top side. Amumu's over there taking grubs. Here comes Hasten, though, once again.
Oh, the action continues as Hasten blasts down, stabs and impales the Janna, and Castro will pick up the second one onto Kiora, and that's a double kill going into the bot side, or at least 2 kills picked up in the bot side. Meanwhile, on top side, Kazu will get the Void Grubbins as a response.
Yeah, but again, it's just Hasten completely dominating this early game, just like in game 1, is running over these side lanes and running over mid lane as well, surely, as Andicus has picked up about a 15 CS lead, which will be neutralized as Corito gets to catch a lot of this wave. But, oh, that's a fair amount of damage out on Andicus. Mumu is here as well.
Yeah, Kazu is going to look for something onto Andicus. Bandage doesn't go onto the target, does have a second charge. The second one will land, but there is no Curse of the Sad Mummy, but the Curse of the Equalizer will land true as Kazu is burnt to a crisp.
Hasten is just everywhere on the map, has been there 4 of the 5 kills. If it weren't for Kenny's solo kill up there, he has 100% kill participation. Jarvan does there. Kenny with a really nice roam down there towards the mid lane as well, able to even get in time to catch that wave. And so this game, out the bat, it's about a 3k gold lead over to DZG already, and we're only 7 minutes into the game.
Yeah, the gold lead is certainly favorable, and now we do have the Devour going down on to Lawrence, but the damage from Lawrence is going to be coming pretty strong here. Canny and Lawrence both pretty low. The trade back with the Devour onto Canny was quite effective. Going to force the Rumble away here, but you know, Lawrence still not in a super great position as Kaiser taking a ton of damage from the way there, but it's not really going to be enough for them to break this Drake. They're going to try anyways, though. Kazu still only level 5. Doesn't have the Sad Mummy curse yet. Drake being taken down very lowly. Hasten very low as well. Could be an opportunity. The bandage toss will get interrupted. We're down to 900. It's going to get
nice steal
by Kazu, and that's going to be Andicus going to get the tornado into the last breath. Castro picking that first one up with the Rockets, getting excited. Kazu's next on the list as the speed continues to allow them to keep on running. That's going to be another pickup there onto A11-1. Now it's Corito on the wrong side of the map. Nowhere left to go but back into the death chamber as Castro picks up a third there, and this Jinx is ramped up.
It's over 4,000 gold lead for DZG. It's all gone terribly wrong around that first dragon objective and around that dive there early into mid lane. Hasten is just running over this game with the proactivity, and then Castro, just like in game 1, able to stay alive continuously in these fights and drag them out and just pump out so much damage. Now has 4 kills to her name, Jinx does, and it's looking like a very difficult lead to climb out here for Soda Shakers. It's going to be a tough one if you want to get back into this one.
It's absolutely going to be a tough game already for the Soda Shakers here. And unlike last game, they don't have nearly as many good buttons. They do have the Curse of the Sad Mummy, which is quite an effective tool. But aside from that, we do have the Engage coming down to the Corita right now. The Cataclysm will be the demise of the Hui there as Andicus dip dashes around and picks that one up. Another easy kill going over to DZG as more and more gold get funneled into these carries.
Another kill over to Andicus on that Zed, and if it weren't for that one greedy death there from Canny, they could be looking at potentially perfect gaming Soda Shakers here in game 2, but alas, Canny messed that one up. It's okay though. Top side, we're seeing a bit of a dive there onto Tom Kent, and goodbye. Canny picked up another one.
Yeah, it is. It's not looking good. We were talking a little bit about this matchup, and we mentioned it again, but it needs to be repeated here. you know, they had the choice to not. I mean, I guess it was the Rumble went into the Tom Kent, so it was certainly, you know, they couldn't really predict where the Rumble was going to go. They couldn't predict where the Zac was going to go. They picked the Tom thinking it was going to be a response into the Zac, but now it is just kind of, you know, it's going to just be so disastrous here.
No.
The disaster continues as Corrido is just a sitting duck under turret. It's looking like lights out already, and we're only 11 minutes in.
It's not looking good at all. Amumu is a champion as well that really struggles from behind. Same with Tom Kent and Wei, as they might have caught the... Oh no!
Oh
Janna!
no! Traitor, imposter located. A11-1 will give a little bit of a second win to Andicus there, as it were, allowing them to dip away and survive. Although I think they probably would have lived anyway. I don't know if there was enough damage to stop that from moving onward. But either way, it is it's looking grim. Right now, I'm not gonna say that it's not looking grim.
Yeah,
But it's not great.
It's a 6K gold lead. It's a
Yeah.
6K gold lead at 12 minutes. That is very difficult mountain to climb. Yasuo is up 2,000 gold. Jinx is up 1K. Rumble's up 1,500. And Kenny's just going to burn through this one here as well. We see quite a bit of damage coming out from Lawrence. He's going to use the ult.
We do have the Devour. It's going to go down. The tongue lashes will happen. The Equalizer doesn't quite land, but it doesn't even matter. The flash from Lawrence there. What do you think it does damage? The bandage toss gets destroyed by the wind wall. But Kai's coolness could be in a bit of a precarious situation, or are they? The ultimate's going to go down the last breath onto Hariokazu. A three-man Curse of the Sad Mummy. There's no damage to follow up. Kiora's on the backside, trying to follow the team up, but just a little too slow to respond. And that will be a lot of cooldowns burned for not even popping the Zac passive. And we do have a re-engage here, as Hasten's going to be dashing in, going to be launching with the Cataclysm. But now who is trapped in what pit? It is the side of the Soda Shakers, who are trapped in a nightmare of their own making, as Castro will pick up another 2 kills, shooting him down like fish in a barrel. And that is going to be a 15-kill lead, nearly a 10K gold lead before 15 minutes.
Yeah, we're at, we've passed the 8K gold lead mark. DZG picking up a dragon for themselves as well. It's just, this game is really quickly, it's gone completely out of control. Jinx is massively snowballed. You can see up 1,700 gold there in the bot side. Top lane is up to 2.2k. Jungle's up 1,000. Mid lane's up to 2k. Even support is up 1,000 gold in the bot lane, which is ridiculous for only 14 minutes. So it's just everyone across the board is just completely crushing the Soda Shakers.
Yeah, the poor old Soda Shakers are in quite a precarious situation. It's hard to even really think of what they can do here to help them out, because they're just so astronomically far behind that it's a wonder what they can do right now, as Lawrence is going to try and get Canny under turret, but the speed will just be enough to get them out there. And another objective will go to the side of DZG here. They pick up that Herald, do have a single round of grubs. The first Drake was theirs. And yeah, it's gonna be another engage here, as Kaiser's gonna be launching them together. A huge combo that, you know, doesn't help the Super Mega Death Rocket, but is still a secured kill on to Kiora. 0-4 on the Zeri right now, as the Herald will be summoned, will be driven into, will drive itself. This is a self-driving Herald into the turret here, as Kaiser's waiting there, thinking about going for another engagement. Tornado is thrown. Yeah, here comes the engagement to Kazu. That's just gonna be another easy pickup. And it's been a while since I've seen a game this lopsided.
It's 11k gold now for DZG. This gold graph is going to be absolutely absurd. Flash burned away from Corrido, so that's another chance of maybe having at least some playmaking gone from the mid laner. It's a nice Zeri, can't Q, but I mean, you're down so much gold. You're 0-4. All you have is that. Now I can't remember what the item is called.
With the Sundered Sky?
No, the Zeri.
The Zeri, it's the static shiv.
Static shiv, thank you. I don't know why I forgot that one.
The
Lawrence is gonna be in a bit of trouble here. Hello.
Yeah,
Hello,
Lawrence is gonna just be taken down. We'll get a turret. So one turret has been claimed, but
you know
what is it worth? You know, worth. Actually,
yeah, it's gone. It's gone from an 11k gold lead to a 10k gold lead. So, I mean, of course, it's going to be almost almost immediately neutralized here as Andicus is going to pick up a tower for themselves up here. But, you know, it did close a little bit. And now we're back up to a 10,500 gold lead, closing in on that 11k. So we're back to normal.
Yeah, back to business as usual. As the game, it's really tough, and I think this is one of those games where I imagine you would feel kind of similarly. That is, for us on the desk, it's like, what exactly can we even say for the Soda Shakers here? Like, what needs to happen? Like, what divine intervention needs to land here for the Soda Shakers to even theoretically come back into this game? Because we're still very early. There is a lot of League of Legends left to be played. So what can the Soda Shakers do?
Here's what they want to pray will happen. You want to pray that DZG, like 4 of their players will DC, and they will ego it and not call for a pause. That's basically your win con at this point.
All right. I'm not optimistic about those odds. You're not inspiring a lot of confidence here. But hey, it's, I guess, a win con.
Yeah, I doubt it will happen.
more than they could hope for right now, at least. As yeah, it's looking pretty. I mean, what else can I say? It's looking still very grim here. As the next turret will be the inner turret on the bot side, taken out before 20 minutes once they get back up to the objective here.
Now, as bad as this is looking, you have to remember that Mad Lions lost in 1647, and we're at 18 minutes, so as bad as this is feeling, it's not worse than an LEC team. You are better than the Mad Lions, which, to be fair, it's LEC, which is, you know, that's basically like tier 6, you know? So outside of tier 2, it's one team region. Anybody else, they have no like DZG would 2-0 them, to be real.
Yeah, true,
but,
absolutely true.
Is what it is. But yeah, at least you're not losing to the game as fast as Mad Lions lost that one match. So, you know, a bright side to this match so far here for Soda Shakers.
Yeah, and I'm sure they feel very reassured about that information. You know, they think about it as like, you know, we haven't lost that badly. As we do have an engaged Andicus going to be looking to just drop onto Corrido here. A TP is going to come in from Canny and will attempt to finish that off. A good TP from Lawrence will nearly save Quay, but Castro and the Equalizer will equalize those HP bars down to 0. It's going to be Andicus will just try and get some damage here. Flashing forward with the Tornado, will get taken down, shut down. 1,000 gold over to the Zeri. That's only one shutdown. Here comes another. That's on to Canny. But once again, the Jinx is free firing. Castro is untouched. Castro is furious here. That is just going to be an inhib turret going down before 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, they probably could step forward and take the inhib as it's just a way, and it doesn't even have ultimate, but, you know, or a way in a Janna. But they decide to back off, get some more gold there for Hasten Chan. And reset, spend a bit more of that money as they're now up to close up all one. Goodbye.
Yeah, all one is 0 and 5 and 1 this
I've-
game.
I've got to imagine that All One is feeling just about all done with this match after how the
Yeah.
way the first 20 minutes of this have gone. If it were in such BM, if I'm in solo queue and I'm feeling this is a definite FF angle at this point. This is scrims. You've FF'd this 8 minutes ago, if not longer ago. And it's kind of one of those painful things when this does happen in I guess a quote stage match, and you just kind of have to play it out. It does hurt. It hurts your pride a little bit, but at the end of the day, it happens, and you learn from it, and you go back into the the tape room, and as the saying goes, to lose is to improve, and you figure out what went wrong in this game, and maybe you just blame the fact that you don't have any bans because of the subs, but anyways, another team fight's happening.
Yeah,
Jinx is popping up.
Jinx already got a kill on Hui as Kazu is going to be walking away from this one. Did secure a red buff. No, yeah, that's... I was trying... No, yeah, that's a red buff. They did get their red buff, so that's a great news. That's an objective, right? Does that count?
Mm-hmm.
I think at this point, you take every victory you can get, as Hasten is going to be smacking down this purple worm here. They aren't even going to get close to think about flipping it as Kazu is going to approach, but the approach is a little too late to make anything happen. TP's coming in from Kazu doesn't want to give up on this, but they just can't close the gap. And yeah, that's gonna be Baron secured for DZG, and you have to wonder, do they just end the game off of this Baron acquisition?
Uh-oh.
As we have a frame here. We have a lot of projectiles in the air here. Observe the Zeri spread pattern, right? We don't get to see this because the Zeri autos fire so quickly. Look at that spread pattern there.
It's a beautiful animation.
Yeah, it is a really cool. I
Look
don't
at the
think I've
Jinx
ever actually.
one.
The Jinx rocket as well is a very beautiful looking.
See the Hui one with the snowflake on the skin? It's pretty
so
clean.
beautiful.
The star
beautiful.
inside the snowflake is pretty
Yeah.
nice.
That's
The hidden details.
That's lovely. These are the details you don't see when the action is nonstop, and we have stopped here. For some reason, was there a pause earlier that I don't remember?
I think this might be the spectator bug.
What do you mean, the spectator bug? No, not like this. No, it can't keep happening, man. Rest
I don't want to
in
talk
peace.
about it.
Rest in peace. It died at 22 minutes. Well.
Shame on DZG for not ending it before this happened.
Yeah. Well, you should have ended sooner. Now we're embarrassed. Well, I don't want to say that. Oh, well, I wonder what the result's gonna be. But I guess we'll take a quick pause here to see if we can't recover the spectate. When we come back, we'll either have the game or have the game result for you. So we'll see. So stick around. Hopefully we get something fixed here. Welcome back, everybody. So that was a quick one because we went to go solve the spectator issue and discovered the game ended. So we do have a look at the post-game here. Yeah, it looks like off of that Baron, they did end up just closing out the game within that 3-minute delay window that we had. I guess it looks like a couple more kills were picked up for the side of the Soda Shakers.
Yeah, they might have picked up one or two more, but Castro's 16-0-5 on that Jinx. 13k, 13,000 gold at like 24 minutes is absurd.
Oh man, it's again, I feel like this is one of those games where if you are the side of the Soda Shakers, you're like, I mean, what do you look at? What do you kind of reflect on? It's like, well, we lost. This was not a close game. There's not really a whole lot you can learn from it. And that's, I think, the worst part of a game like this. If you're a player, it's like, well, what do we get out of this? We lost horribly. What do we change here? And it's not like, you know, how did they have changed draft? They were in a huge deficit, and we didn't get a chance because of how quick we got into game one. That the losing all of those bans is extremely tough.
It is.
I actually have a very personal experience with this.
Same.
One of my teams, you too?
Yep.
Yeah, one of my teams in Meta Shift.
You were in Meta Shift as well. That's a throwback.
One of my teams I was on in Meta Shift. We had to scramble for a bunch of E-subs, and we ended up losing 4 bans. And it really changes the way you approach the game, and it kind of reverses your goal as in draft. Your goal in then is, first of all, you hope they don't have any one tricks. And second of all, you hope you can get as many power picks as possible, because in a 10-ban game, you're both getting rid of these power picks, right? But in a 6-ban game, you only have the 1 ban you get. So sure, that gives the enemies a lot of options that you take away from them, but at the same time, they're on the table for you as well. So, you know, we ended up actually winning our series where we lost 4 bans because of the fact that we could get some of those power picks that we would have had to ban otherwise. It was like, well, they either get it, and if they don't take it, we take it, because we didn't have to ban it, right?
Yep. Well, I feel Soda Shaker's pain, because when it happened to me, we got 2-0'd as well. So it hurts, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's not easy. It is super difficult, and it really, the only reason my team survived is off of the back of the greatest champion in the game, Maokai. So greatest back before they hit him with a bunch of nerfs once he came into the jungle. You know, so it's unfortunate. You got to feel bad if you're the Soda Shakers here. But hey, if you're DZG, you definitely feel pretty good about that. You're like, yeah, that was a very dominant game too, and game 1 as well was a super strong showcase from them. So I feel like, you know, not to take anything away from DZG's victory here, it was very well done. You know, you play the hand you're dealt on both sides. If you're the team who gets the advantage because of not having to deal with as many bans, hey, you play that game too. So can't hate on DZG for finding that victory. Anything else you want to say before we close out tonight, Sharpie?
I don't think so. I think that's a great wrap up. There's a lot for both these teams to take away. Obviously, DZG, you want to kind of recap that game too and grind it into your player's mind. This is what a dominant game looks like. I want to see more of that from them. And then for Soda Shakers, just kind of look back and figure out, okay, game 2 obviously really fell apart there. What really went wrong, and what could we have done to prevent it? A lot to learn from, a lot to take away from this series as they move forward in towards playoffs as it gets closer and closer. another banger match here at BOL Emerald. I'm Sharpie. This has been Becky Rita. Thank you all in the chat for stopping by. It's been a pleasure to cast for you all. And from us here at the cast, myself, Becky Rita, and Chippy on production, I hope you all have a great night. And we'll see you next time for some more Blue Water League action.